you want to leave this place where we grew up? This old town, just put it all behind. Remember you and I would always find somewhere to hide when we were kids, so we could see and hear the water run. The river's gonna cry when you're gone.
Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. So today I am working on my drip line. That was a game-changing tool for me last year when I installed this for the very first time. If you are not familiar with what it is, a drip line is simply a hands-off watering system for your plants. You essentially have a water hose that is hooked up to a main line, and from that main line you run thinner, lighter weight hoses that have little pinholes every 8 inches or so, and they water your garden for you. Now, I get a lot of questions as far as, well, what makes this different than, like, say, a soaker hose or something like that. The major difference is pressure. When you have a soaker hose and you've got a lot of area that you are covering with soaker hoses, up at the front, at the beginning of the soaker hose, there's going to be a lot of pressure, so there's going to be a lot more water. But when you get to the end of, say, several soaker hoses that have been connected together, you're not going to have as much pressure at the end, and so you're going to get a lot of watering at the beginning and not much at the far end. This is designed so that you have even watering, whether it's 20 feet long or 100 feet long. It is all pressure controlled, it's even watering, and it's just a steady drip. So this very first row that I have here set up is going to be the same amount of water as the farthest row. Even watering, and it's wonderful. One of these days I would like to figure out a way to run a drip line between all of my raised beds in the front garden. I'll have to figure that out because there's right angles that are going to be happening, and so I just don't know how easily that would work. Now, like I said, I did this last year, but one of the things I'm doing differently this year is I'm putting all of the lines on top of my mulch. Last year I came through, I set up all of the drip line system, then I planted everything and mulched around it. This year I'm kind of doing it a little bit differently, and I mulched a lot of the garden, planted a few things here and there. I'm setting up my drip line on top of it. That way I can see the drip line. I can make sure there's nothing that's pinched, or I haven't sprung a leak or anything like that. I can see the drip line, and then I'm planting along the drip lines just to make it easy. Last year I did have a couple instances where I hit my drip line with a tool and I broke one of the pieces, things like that. So we were kind of rough with it, and I just feel like putting it on top where I can see it and know not to hit it with a garden tool will just make things easier. So most everything here is fine, but I do have a couple of strands that I need to replace, and so I pulled this up. Alright, so this bed behind me is the new raised bed that went in this year, and this is where we had zucchini last year. So we already had a couple drip lines that had took care of the zucchini plants. Well, now that I have this raised bed here, and it's a pretty low raised bed, it's only about, I don't know, 10 inches or so. These drip lines that were here are working just fine. There's a little bit of a bend down here where they're coming up over the edge, but the water is still flowing. So I'm going to go ahead and add another line right here. Actually, I'm going to have Mr. Smith help me with this. And add a third line to go down the side, because I'm going to plant tomatoes on that side, tomatoes on this side, and then something tall down the center, like probably sunflowers. And so I need some more I need one more line. And to do that, you've got the main line that the water comes in from that is connected to your water hose, your source. And you use this little tool to punch a hole in the hose. You plug this little piece into the hole, this little nipple thing that goes in there. And then your drip line attaches onto this. And this is my only complaint. This is the hardest part of the entire thing, is getting this hole in there and then getting this little nub into that hole. This thing sucks. There used to be, when I first looked at this drip line system, I saw another one that you could purchase that had a metal tip on it that I think probably would have worked better. However, I've not seen it available since then, and this is what comes with a kit if you order a kit, so we'll just have to make do. I just turned it off, so there's going to be some water coming out of there. So that's the main line, and then we have the drip line, which attaches to that little piece there. And then to finish this off, you just cut it straight across, just a couple inches longer than what you want it to be. And then they have these little pieces here. You slip them on, fold the end over, and then back it down in, like that. And that's it. Alright, you guys, so we got rained out, but we got a lot done today. Actually, I got almost everything I wanted to get done today. So the big thing that I really wanted to get done today was the drip line, which we got that all installed out in the big garden, the in-ground garden, and then we added that third line that goes across that low new raised bed. I installed 2 cattle panel portions to serve as a trellis for 2 rows of tomatoes in that bed. There's a space down the middle where I think I'm going to plant something really tall, like some sunflowers, something that I don't have to mess with, something that can just grow in there. So that space down the center is going to be sunflowers. Don't know what kind yet, but I'll think about it. Look at my list of seeds, see what I've planted and what I haven't, and then I'll decide what to put in there. I don't know, maybe I'll put something altogether different, but it'll probably be sunflowers. So like I said, Joshua helped out with that, and right about that time was when it started sprinkling. And so I went ahead and I stuck a few, and actually let me back up. Before I did the cattle panels, in between the drip line and the cattle panels, I actually ran a quick errand. I needed to go to Tractor Supply to pick up a couple things, and then I thought, well, while I'm out, let me just run over to Lowe's, check out the garden section, and see if maybe they've got some herbs that I haven't started. I was hoping to get some dill and some parsley. I have a really bad track record with dill and parsley. I can usually grow it just fine, but I end up not getting any because there are these, I think it's the swallowtail butterflies that lay their eggs and raise their young on dill and parsley. That's like the only plants that they do this on. And yeah, so last year I pretty much lost all of my dill and parsley to those. So I figured maybe if I plant a little bit more of it this year, maybe there'll be enough to share with the butterflies and get some from my kitchen as well. But while I was there, I actually ran into another subscriber, and again, I'm so happy that she reached out and said hello. So her name was Sophia, and we got to chat for a few minutes, and it was so nice getting to meet her. I love little coincidences like that because I wasn't even planning on going to Lowe's when I left the house, and lo and behold, got there same time it looked like that she did. So I picked up some dill, I picked up some parsley, and then I picked up a couple different just little coleus plants. I stuck some of those in the empty pockets, some of the empty pockets of my green stalk that's on the front porch. So everything out there is doing pretty well. The celery is growing. The, what else did I put in there? Celery. Oh, lettuce. The lettuce is doing great. I stuck my wandering Jew plant up on top of it just to kind of sit up there because I thought it looked cool. But the lower layers, the lower levels of the green stalk, I'm not really getting to plant because I have an Edith. And Miss Edith goes up there and eats everything in the bottom of it. I think next year I'm going to have to find someplace else to put it because last year it was way too hot. This year everything's doing great, but again, I've got an Edith. So, yeah. And she just goes right up there on the porch and helps herself. So I stuck some coleus down in the pockets that were kind of off to the side where I didn't think she could get to them. So hopefully those are able to grow and look lovely out there on the front porch. And about that time is when I actually did get rained out. It started sprinkling and just has kind of been steadily raining pretty lightly ever since. And so I went and grabbed all of my pepper seedlings that I had started in under my grow lights, and I went ahead and separated all those out and potted them up. And so now I've got 2 whole shelves, well, almost 2 whole shelves full of pepper plants in there in my seed starting area in the corner of my bedroom. And the tomatoes, my restarted tomatoes are coming along. They're looking pretty good. They're about yay big. So I will be separating those into their own pots pretty soon, maybe even tomorrow. Now I did have one variety that I went ahead and started. These seeds were from a couple of years ago. I have not had a single one come up. Not a single one. So I don't know if the seeds were just no good or what. And that was the mortgage lifter tomatoes. All of the other varieties have come up. I do have 2 different kinds of ground cherries that I decided to go ahead and start as well. One of them has come up, the other one has not. However, I'm not too concerned because I do know that ground cherries sometimes can take a while to actually make an appearance. So I'm not going to stress about that at all. I'll give it plenty of time to see if they grow. And then I do have another pot, one of the little squares that I put a bunch of seeds in to experiment and see if they would grow. And I don't know if they're going to. It's something I've never grown before. I don't know if it can even grow here. And to be honest, the packet of seeds I had no instructions, so I don't know if it's something that's supposed to be planted in the fall and over winter. Or what. So I just used some of the seeds, stuck them in the pot to see what happened. So I won't share what that is yet until I can get till I can figure out what's going on and if they're going to do anything. It is actually getting pretty late and I need to go in there and eat some dinner. We're just having leftovers tonight. So this time of year I tend to cook big batches of things. I've actually got 2 roasts, beef roasts, that I have had thawing out today that I will be throwing in the slow cooker tomorrow. And I'm doing 2 because they're kind of small. And so that way when I do cook a meal, we can eat a couple of days on it. Because this time of year, I am outside almost all day long. As it starts getting hotter and hotter, I'll be coming in midday because it's just too hot outside to work. But right now, when the weather's great and mild, I am out here almost all day. And I will find myself coming in as the sun's going down and realize I have not made anything. And so to keep that from happening and needing to run and pick something up somewhere, I just go ahead and start planning slow cooker meals or instant pot meals, and I do big batches so I don't have to do it every day. It just makes my life easier. So that is it. Thanks for hanging out with me again at A Good Life Farm. I will talk to y'all next time.